Sports Blitz Live is on the air with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown run.
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Everybody, and welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Been saying those two names for a long time, 2 decades, pretty much, as they've been longtime partners with us here on our program on Saturdays. Randy, good to see you this morning. Luke will jump in whenever the alarm goes off or he spins around or whatever. We'll get him in here with us, but ton to talk about this morning. We'll be with you for a couple of hours as we get rolling, and we'll take your comments out there wherever it is that you are tuning us in, whether it be YouTube or Facebook. Spring sports, hey, there's only a few weeks left in school, which is crazy, and we've got some storylines on that. But high school season, the high school calendar year is coming to a close, and be graduations here in a few weeks, and then we'll be into the summer mode and all the camps and everything, and then we'll be getting ready for fall, man. It never slows down, it never stops. But some really good tournament baseball going on at the high school level right now. We'll go through some of that. Obviously, we don't normally talk a lot about pro sports on our shows, but the NFL draft has been interesting for many storylines that we'll hit this morning. Auburn and Alabama storylines, and of course the Shedeur Sanders drama of him continuing to just fall down the rounds and not being selected, and probably was one of the top 3 quarterbacks in this draft. And so it has to be something external. He's got the skill set and everything. You and I both know that. So we'll dive into that too, and a lot more. But yeah, there's a lot coming to an end, and then a lot about to rev back up.
Well, just a great time. You and I love high school sports here in the state of Alabama, and spring sports bring more storylines than really any other time of the year, it feels like, Brett, with so many individual sports going on. The thing that I've noticed, you're coming to the end of track seasons. Always massive storylines around the track seasons. We crowned a bunch of tennis state champions this week, and Brett, there are a handful of schools out there that win them every year. Their communities have just embraced that sport, and maybe we can hit on some of those schools, and some into the 30s now in state champions. Right. And no end in sight, because you're going to find, if you're interested in some of these individual sports, you're going to get them in a school that embraces those types. But baseball and softball, baseball's into the second round of the playoffs, Brett. We both know, with you being involved in broadcasting and around baseball for so many years, how much effort it takes to get to this time of season. It's not easy to get through, and when you get to the second round, you're going to have really good matchups in every sport. And we've got some great matchups here in the state that are going on right now. So you and I will talk about that in a couple of segments. One quick note that I wanted to throw your way as we start this morning, though, is the ever-changing world of high school sports, with so many private schools coming into the mix now, Brett. 20 years ago when you and I started, there were a few private schools that were sprinkled into the HSA and had already made that decision to split from AISA and become a part of the association. And they were making buzz. The one that I can really remember, and then I'll kick it to you to get some of your thoughts, but Madison Academy. Right. I remember Madison Academy being up in the northern half of the state with Kerryon Johnson and others, getting through and winning state titles and but there weren't anywhere near as many as we see right now. And one thing I noticed looking down at the scores from last night in the second round as we head into the quarters in baseball, there was only one public school in Class 3A that made it through to the quarterfinals, Brett, and that was Winfield. Now, Winfield, one of the best athletic programs top to bottom in the state. They're 31-4 now on the season, so they've got a really strong team. But the rest of Class 3A, two really close to us here. Lee Scott gets through to the quarterfinals.
Right.
Glenwood gets through to the quarterfinals. They've been big-time rivals in all sports for a long time in East Alabama. And now they moved to Class 3A, and you kind of expected it in some of these sports. But, Brett, it's taken me a little while to get used to looking down the list of teams that are moving on late into playoff runs and see so many private schools out there.
You know, you and I have talked about this, and I know Luke's talked about it as well. And there are certain classifications that they're becoming more dominant in the private schools. And again, you know, it has to do with the multiplier and where these schools, you know, land, you know, when you add that in their total enrollment. And so that just happens to be where a lot of those schools settle because, you know, most of the time private schools aren't really big. So when you add the multiplier in, they're probably a 1A or 2A by size, but then the multiplier, and then you add in, you know, the other factors, they happen to land around that 3A mark, some in that 2A mark. But yeah, I mean, it's the trend. I'm not, you know, I hate to say it that way, and I don't mean it in a negative tone, but these private schools are set up to where people can choose where they want to go, and if they want to pay the tuition or get a tuition waiver or whatever. And there's been a lot of
law that's about to go in place.
Right. But here's the whole deal is that when you set up a situation like this, you know, it brings about talk that we've had over the years of should there be a separation of private and public when it comes to postseason. And, you know, I don't have an answer for that. I think there's a lot of moving pieces to that. You and I don't get paid to make that decision. And so, but at the end of the day, I think it's a real topic. I think it's something that when you look at it, and, you know, some may argue with what we say on that, but, you know, you can go out as a private school and you can take in, and I know there's people that will come back at me when they say, well, they're doing it in public schools and stuff like that. I get all that. What I'm saying is that it's set up where private schools have a built-in factor of a multiplier to try to offset the part where you can go out and have basically your choice of what you want to do, you know. And I'm not saying they're going out and actively recruiting and bringing in people, but look, we all know what's going on all over the place, public, private, indifferent. So, but it's starting to take over in some of these smaller classifications. Then you can argue and say whatever you want to say, but the proof's in the pudding, and you look at the stats and you look at what you just brought up. I mean, 3A is dominated by private schools, especially in baseball. And we see it in football too.
Probably softball too.
Right.
And I already know in basketball, because you and I made mention with that. When you watch these lower classifications in basketball, it doesn't mean that Spring Garden doesn't win 1A in girls. They do. But a lot of the teams that are getting deep are private schools. And I'm with you. I don't have a problem with it. You know, the further I get down the line, the less I have a problem with it. But I do think you have to call a spade a spade. And what that is if you're expected to compete with that, then you want to put the best roster out there on the field that you can as said public school. I'm not in the room when these legislations are made. There's a lot of ex-coaches that understand how all of this game is played that are in the room, that are making decisions on who to bring the hammer down on and who not to. So you got to trust that the leadership that you put in place is going to make the right decisions there, Brett. But I think it's a storyline that's not going anywhere. It's a massive storyline. And the more transient, we talked about it the last couple of weekends, but the more transient society gets and the more that Brett Pritchard's kids playing with a kid over in Sylacauga and Tallahassee from the time they're 7 and 8 years old and they're growing up together with their families and they get to the high school level and they like to play with each other and they find a school that they all can combine with. And I mean, those storylines are out there. Do you like it, dislike it? Here's the deal. Private school, you don't have to sit around and worry about whether you like it or not. There are scholarships that are out there to go to kids that want to come to that school, and who wouldn't? You know, in some of these communities, the public schools are so bad academically that they give no argument to come and play that parents and kids wouldn't take advantage of being able to go to a school that's producing the way that they are. And so, look, until that changes, I don't have a good answer for you.
Well, I'll use one school as an example from my days at CAC. When I remember when Prattville Christian started, and they were a little old bitty nothing school. And I hate to say nothing. I don't mean it that way. I mean a little old bitty tucked away, you know, just a few students. And it was like, oh, there's a school over there. And, you know, every year they just grew a little bit more and grew a little bit more. And, you know, now they're formidable. I mean, they are a powerhouse in some sports, especially female athletics in the girls side and in the boys. I mean, we just went over to Prattville Christian and did a show not too long ago. That tells you the difference in where they are now and how far they've come when we did our on the road show there. When I look at the kind of shift in the direction of the HSA, look at and here's the deal. And I know we got to get to our first break. AISA Sports. You've seen an influx of teams from AISA to AHSA. They're coming here because they want to compete. Sure. They want to compete at the highest level. And the HSA, and again, it's not a shot at AISA, but it just is what it is. I mean, Lee Scott and Glenwood and all those teams were winning at such a rapid pace. And I remember the days when Lee Scott couldn't beat anybody in anything. You know, now they're, you know, gotten to such a point where they felt like they needed to take a jump, getting another association so they could give their student athletes, you know, really good competition. So it has hurt AISA because there's just not as many teams. And, you know, we know that there's some teams in AISA that have to go all over the place now just to find competition. But I want to stay with that. I want to go ahead and go to break. When we come back, I want to kind of continue my point on this. And I think it's valid that, again, you got to figure out how to balance this thing and what do you want to do with these teams? Obviously, they want to compete at a high level, but also from the public school side, you've put in elements. But, you know, I'm not too sure that that rule maybe isn't antiquated at this point. So let's talk about that when we come back. But we're up against our first break. Just getting started here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. More to come right after this.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama, is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep us in mind. Why don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply is your headquarters for all the brands contractors know best. We're your local home improvement store with 9 convenient locations throughout Central Alabama. We have a huge selection of Weber and Traeger, Pelican coolers, Milwaukee and DeWalt tools, and other top brands. No matter the project, we have you covered with our high-quality lumber and building supplies. From do-it-yourselfers to seasoned pros, Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply has what you need to get the job done.
Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Ready for an unforgettable escape? Jump into adventure at Lake Martin, Alabama. From thrilling water sports to peaceful fishing spots, it's love at first bite every time you cast your line. Want more excitement? Catch an event with our vibrant festivals, concerts, and fishing tournaments all year long. And when the sun sets, dive downtown to discover local shops, delicious dining, and warm southern hospitality. Explore Lake Martin, where every moment is an adventure waiting to happen.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. You can get your comments in on Facebook and YouTube. Just starting off the program this morning, talking about just running down some of the scores from and results from baseball second round in the HSA from last night. We'll go back through that and we'll talk about a lot of our teams in the local area. Now, I was just finishing up when we went to break about, the AISA is losing teams, and a lot of them are coming over here because they want to compete in the HSA, and they want to give their student athletes the best opportunity to compete. And again, I think what you look at is the only way I can see this maybe playing out, and I don't know if they go down this path or not, but play who you want to during the regular season, open schedule. But separate the regions, and I know there's a lot of geographic things that play into this. So, again, I can't – there is no perfect answer here. But I was told, and you were too, years ago, that might be a possibility one day, that in postseason that you split it up and have a private class and a public class postseason. And so, again, you allow private schools to come into the HSA and compete at a high level. They can still compete for a state championship. And then public schools can do the same, and they can all play each other. But when it comes to postseason, you break it up into different areas. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but that's one possibility.
I think that's a long shot, but I think it's worth bringing up. I don't have the answers for this. I do look at many sports, and a lot of the people that would argue the opposite way would say, look at football, look at some of those sports, and it's not as dominant as you think if you really look in.
It's getting there.
I think not only is it getting there, Brett, I think the sway in the state away from, let's be honest, failing public schools to private or to charter or to other options that are coming on board daily that you see and I see that are out there is going to change the overall dynamic of high school sports here in this state even more than we have. And I think you got to have a plan in place the more that does change. And, I can appreciate bringing in teams like Lee Scott and Glenwood and others. I personally enjoy covering them. They're over here in our neck of the woods. It adds a team to the mix that you and I get to cover, Brett, because we like looking around, like Tallahassee moves to the third round of the playoffs last night. winning both of their games. And that's a Tallahassee baseball program that I think's won 6 state championships. They're one of the best overall in state history, and they've got a great tradition going on there. And we can keep going. Horseshoe Bend, unfortunately, on baseball loses both of theirs last night, but Brett went over and did a piece on Horseshoe Bend softball this week as they take a tremendous team into regionals, one of the top teams in Class 2A. And
number 3.
Brett caught up with one of our favorites in Hagen Leitard that is the coach over there. And she actually was an intern with us at one point in time, many, many moons ago, Brett. So we're real proud of the success that she's had over at Horseshoe Bend. My point is, the more teams in our local area that we get to cover is better for us if you're just talking. But from an overall standpoint here in the state, you've got to be able to look down, and I'll say even on individual sports, golf, track, all of these sports, they are very much dominated right now by the private schools. And I don't have a problem with it. It just is what it is. And I don't know a happy medium. I do know that, here's the hard part to argue. When the hammer comes down on the public school, so let's just say, I'm just going to give you.
I knew where you're going with it.
Let me give you an example here. Let's say my son's 17 years old, and he's a good athlete in Mobile, Alabama, and he's the 3rd string quarterback at Spanish Fort High School, and he's a junior. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. Now, many moons ago, people would say, well, I'd have just stayed in there and I'd have fought it, and I'd have just sat there. Well, I mean, yeah, you'd stayed in there and fought it, and you'd have never played. You can say it. Yeah, you stayed in there and sat your rear end over there on the bench the whole time. Most of those that do say how to stay in there and fought it, that's what they did, or they didn't play.
Or they didn't have that chance.
Yeah, so my point now, though, is if you're 3rd string quarterback at Spanish Fort High School and
you're not staying anymore,
and Daphne needs quarterback, and you know it, then you want your kid to have that experience. Which I'm telling you right now, my goal in sports for my 2 kids is they get a good experience.
You only get one shot at it.
I know how important it was. I know how important it was to me. And I didn't play any professional athletics and make any money playing sports, but I don't think there was anything I did in school that was more important to me than being around the coaches that I had the good fortune of being around and led by. And I think most of the things, or a lot of the things that come out of my mouth are based around the people that I was exposed to at that really vital point in my life. So you want your kid to have those experiences. And you can say, well, I don't like that. Well, I mean, here's the deal. The parents that are making that decision, they don't care what you like. They don't care what your opinion is.
Right.
They are trying to do what's best for theirs. So I read that on a comment thread, Brett, actually, on some of the legislation that's coming down. And it made a lot of sense to me. Because, there are schools out there that have grown so much and so much effort have been put into play that, I'll talk about one that's close by us. When you got 90 to 100 boys in each class trying out for baseball at Auburn High School, 90 to 100 now, by the way,
in each class.
And when I actually have a family member that's in this boat, and their son is a very good summer travel baseball player. Good friend of both of ours, Brett. Very good friend of both of ours. And his son's a very good athlete, but he doesn't make the team over there. So he transfers over to Lee Scott, and he's doing great. He's having a great – so what would you suggest to them? Let him not make a team and have the experience, or transfer somewhere where he's got a chance to have a wonderful experience playing the sport that he loves?
That's what it really boils down to, man.
It does.
I mean, a lot of people want – I know nefarious things go on, you know that. But 90% of the time, or maybe even higher percentage, people are trying to just do the right thing by their kid.
Agree.
And get their kid in a right position. And you're going to take them to a place that has a good culture, that has good coaching, has good facilities. And, again, everything's not created equal. If you live out in the country and you go to a 1A school and that's the only option there, and there's not a lot of kids to compete with, then everybody's probably going to play anyway, right? But if you go to a major metropolis area that there's a school every 5 minutes down the road and they're all 7As, and there's bazillion kids trying out for every sport, you know, and like you just gave that example, you've got some really good athletes that, what are they going to do, man? They only are that age one time. Are they just going to say, well, this just happens to be where I live, and I guess I don't get a chance to play baseball. I guess it just wasn't in the cards for me because I can't make the team. Or do you go, and again, may not be exactly what they want to do as far as a parent or whatever, but it's important to that kid enough, and enough time and effort's been put in and money has been spent that they go, they can't play here and they are still a really good player, but they can go down here and they can start, and they possibly will be able to get a scholarship to move on into, you know, and help them get an education down the line, man. You know, people behind the keyboard and behind text threads and stuff are quick to judge and quick to point a finger and quick to accuse why things are happening. I'm not saying things don't go on, and I'm not saying that there's some schools out there that have abused things and have done things wrong. I'm just saying majority of the people out there are trying to do the right thing, I feel. That's it.
I totally agree with you. And I don't think that setting up things that keep that from happening is the best route for the kids' sake. You can say it's, I mean, how about let's think about the kids' sake here, you know, getting the experience. The reasons that I put out there that I want my two kids playing sports and being involved in stuff, same as yours were, same as yours are. Doesn't mean they got to play football. Doesn't mean they got to play baseball. Heck, they may just be interested in fishing, but they may be going to a school that doesn't have a fishing team.
Randy, you know, Zach, to cut you off, just want to say that you know as well as I do, and I can give this example. I won't say the school, but going into Braden's senior year, we had a private school reach out, and Braden played 3 years. So it's not like he wasn't playing. He was a starter his last 2 years in football. But he had somebody reach out and say, look, we'd love to have him come help us on our team, and he could really help us, could really contribute. And, of course, he decided to stay at Benjamin Russell. But that stuff goes on, man, and that's the way it is. And, you know, if he'd have been 4 deep, you know, and, you know, 3 guys in front of him and he had no chance, we probably would have, if as much as he loved that sport, would have considered that, would have been an option on the table to say, look, hey, yeah, you're right. Let's go look at that, because I know you may want to stay here or whatever, but I just think there's a lot of people that get put in those situations and that they have to make a decision. It's not like they're looking to sprint out of town, but they're just trying to do what they can for their kid, because again, you don't get these years back. It's just like telling a kid when they don't play, and I know we got to get to break, Russ, so I'll finish up, but it's a kid that's sitting over here wasting away, not taking advantage of playing, and then they look back and go, man, I wish I would have done that when I was in high school. Guess what? When those days are over, they're over. The ship has sailed. You don't get to go back and try again. So, you know, that's kind of, it's on both sides. So let's get to break and come back. We'll keep it going. Stay tuned. A lot more to come right after this.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Hillary Towers may very well be the Lake Martin area's best kept secret. An affordable senior citizens community located on Highway 22 East in Alexander City. Spacious one-bedroom units are currently available. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today for more information on the newly renovated Hillary Towers, 256-329-0552. 256-329-0552. Hillary Towers, 22 East, Alexander City.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
Hi, I'm Abby Guy, Vice President at Riverbank and Trust. They say that most banks offer the same products, but Riverbank offers something most can't: personal connection. We love getting to know our customers by name and making them feel special with every interaction. It's a feeling of warm hospitality you won't find anywhere else. Experience it for yourself.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Some comments. Tony said, shout out to Stanhope's soccer programs for winning their area and hosting first round playoff games at 17 Springs. Heard the atmosphere was great. Well, that facility over there, again, all right, here we go. In that area of the state, in Millbrook, look, no shot at anybody, but facilities were less than acceptable, right?
Yeah.
And you know what they did down there is they invested and built one of the best sports complexes in the entire state now in 17 Springs. And you can say what you want. You didn't do that just because you wanted to just have a sports complex. That city and those communities made a decision that they wanted to find something that would be an economic booster to bring in tournaments and things, but wanted to provide facilities for the high school to have the best that they could possibly get. So it's no different than what we're doing here in Alexander City. We didn't have to build a brand new sports complex because we've been blessed for a long time with one of the best, and we've been able to maintain and keep that up. And then when our complex was built, and again, this is no cut against the ones that are being built now, most of the stuff that we built was built with concrete and steel. And it's almost impossible. The cost would be so great to do what we did now. You wouldn't be able to manage it. So they've changed things, and a lot of things are aluminum and different, but it's still great facilities and great, opportunities. But what we did is we built a brand new high school, or are in the process. I think I got the memo yesterday that we're 78% complete now on the high school. So again, the goal is to be in that school by January of next year. But we were able to build a facility that we have never had in this city, and that's a competitive track with bleachers and the whole deal. So now that's going to be an economic booster for our city when these when all of these meets come in, and we're able to host things and maybe even host regionals and things like that. Now, this is just being in the current times, man. You're either moving forward or you're not. I mean, it's just the reality of it.
Well, let me brag on several things that's going on in our neck of the woods that are very much needed, Brett. I do a lot of travel basketball. My son loves it, and I love it, so it's a perfect mix there. Well, most of the tournaments that we've done, taking a team out of the Lake Martin area, has been the last 3 years going either to North Alabama, to Coleman, and the Gunnersville area, which they have a really great league up there that they work together on, and there's some wonderful facilities up there that you're able to go play in. And then the other spot that we've been nonstop is Hoover. Hoover's got so many gyms inside of one facility, and they've got a number of other gyms that they can play in. Well,
haven't you been to Sand Mountain too?
Well, we haven't on the travel circuit been to Sand Mountain, but Sand Mountain's really involved in everything else. They outside of 17 Springs, I think they've got the best facility in the state of Alabama. We've been up there a few times in some different sports, but just not YBOA. But my point is, Brett, where's the best high school basketball in the state?
It's in North Alabama.
Anybody that wants to argue that just doesn't pay any attention. They're stuck in their little nook and they don't watch anything else. It's eye-opening how much better the northern half of the state is in basketball than our area. Very much so. Well, I think part of the reason is facilities and opportunities for kids to be involved in that sport at the level that you've got to be to compete at the top level. There's a reason. I mean, I got to come up with some reason why the northern half of the state wins 90% of the state championships, and the southern half very seldom gets through. But here's one thing that's happened here recently. Let's just start with track and field in Elliott City soon. We've got a sectional grade track facility being built in Elliott City. There's one in Chelsea also that's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
The facility. So there are a few locations within an hour of us that you're going to be, if that's a sport that you care about, you're going to have top-notch facilities that you can actually go out and compete and learn and get to a state level. There's here in the city of Auburn, they built 2 brand new indoor basketball facilities within the last year, Brett. So as of previous years where we play 5 or 6 travel tournaments a year and 4 or 5 of them are in Hoover, so far 75% of the ones that we've played in this year have been in Auburn. That's never been an option because they didn't have the facilities to house it. And my guess is there's also been one over in Montgomery with the Crossplex, but I'll bet you anything that the city of Millbrook's about to get into the flow with that with 17 Springs, and you'll see a lot of tournaments going on there. So it's a need. It's not only a need for tourism and money to come to those communities, but it's also a need for our kids if you plan on them competing with other parts of the state that just got way nicer facilities and more opportunities than we're providing down here.
Look, I mean, again, not to pound or beat a dead horse, but it's just it's as obvious as the nose on your face. There's a direct correlation between success and investment, right? And that's no different than what you do in your personal life. You want your house to stay in good shape. You invest money back into it. You don't just buy a house and go, oh, well, that's it. I'm going to live here for 40 years and I ain't going to hit a lick of the stick and thing falls in. Time wears on, man. And, you can decide that you're going to do maintenance and renovate and change some things up, or you can let the thing fall in. It's whatever you want to do. It's yours. The same with communities and facilities and schools. You can keep just rolling, and you're going to have naysayers out there that go, hey, man, I don't see nothing wrong with our stuff. Why are they wasting money into all that? Well, I mean, that's your viewpoint, but the reality of the world around you is that the ones that are elevating their level of
their
play
brand.
and they're absolutely not only athletics, but academically, they're reinvesting in their school. And that might not just necessarily be brick and mortar. It could be a lot of other different things, but they're doing the things that they need to do to put themselves at the top. So there's your little personal versus, whatever you want to call it, example of public versus private. That's how it goes down. And that's what communities that we're looking at across the state. You can look at Moody, Alabama. You and I know we got to get to break, Russ, but Moody, Alabama, back 15, 20 years ago, Randy, was what did we used to say? I don't mind saying it. And again, I think the people in Moody would say, hey, you're right on. They played for a state championship, didn't they? Didn't we call that game, obviously, this year? Would 15 years ago, if I said Moody's going to be in the state championship in 15 years, you'd looked at me and you'd said, in what? And like in football, like, because they were the stomping boy for everybody. It was almost like Thompson. Like, I know it's so far removed now for the days of when Thompson used to get their brains beat out, because they've been beating everybody else's brains out for so long now. Nobody really that's 15 years older or older even remembers that now, or younger remembers that. But that's the truth, man. These programs decided that they were tired of being that. So they invested. Thompson invested brand new school, brand new facilities. Moody doing the same thing. It just naturally elevates what you do, and it's a culture that you instill. So we've said this for a million times, and for a million and one now, there's a direct correlation between all this stuff. And the communities that are showing that they're moving forward are the ones that are being stagnant. So, all right, we got to get to break. Stay tuned. A lot more to come right after this.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes that are installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
This is Joseph Dean with Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory. I am pleased to announce that Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is now open to serve the public at our location on the corner of 49 North and 280 West in Dadeville. Please stop by and see lifelong resident of Dadeville, Molly Kaler, who will be running the office and meeting with families who want to plan ahead and pre-need their services. We are also available by phone, 256-750-0381, or online at lakemartinfuneralhome.com.
Looking to transform your outdoor space? Look no further than Bama Sheds. As a family-owned and operated business, we understand your needs. That's why we offer no credit check, rent-to-own options. Enjoy free delivery and setup within 35 miles of our 4 convenient locations. Whether you need a shed, pole barn, garage, or carport, we've got you covered. Visit our website at bamasheds.com or call 256-268-8484. Bama Sheds, where quality meets affordability and your outdoor dreams become reality.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Very short segment here because we got to get caught up. It's only a few minutes. So we'll dive into some scores, and won't go through all of these. I'll just say, kind of who's moving on. And bear with me a little bit. I mean, this thing's like reading hieroglyphics, the way all this thing is typed up and the way the scores are. It looks like Auburn over Alma Bryant.
Yeah, they split last night.
Yeah,
they're going to play today.
They got game 3 coming up. But again, reading this is like trying to decipher something on the side of an Egyptian pyramid. I need some symbols and stuff. But Auburn and Alma Bryant split. All right, then you got Enterprise that won the series, and like you said, only one loss on the season. So again, very, very convincing win, 12-1, and then had to win a squeaker 1-0. But like you said, the commonality in a lot of this is pitching.
Yeah, these teams, we talked about Chelsea a little bit earlier, and congratulations to our good friend and Michael Stallings picking up his 300th victory as the head coach there at Chelsea. But they win 2 ball games and only give up 1 run in 2 ball games last night. Look, it's an easy mathematical equation when you throw pitchers up there that don't give up any runs. Vestavia Hills went on their 9-year stretch of winning state titles, and they won them a lot of different ways. But when we were coming through school, one of the key reasons that they won a lot of those was Josh Hancock, Brett. When you went and played Vestavia and Hancock was pitching, you weren't going to score. And if they were able to get 3 or 4 up there, it was going to be a problem beating them. And when you've got dominant pitching, you can really win when it gets to series ball like this. And some of these teams, you'll talk about Hewitt-Trussville here coming up. Did they give up a run last night?
Hewitt-Trussville won 4-0 and 5-1. So yeah, they gave up 1 run, but they're 33-2. And, arguably it's like, went up and talked to their coach and some of their players. They play in perhaps one of the toughest regions in the whole state. And somebody gets left out of that region that was a really good baseball team. And, I remember that year. I always go back and remember the year that Smith Station was number 1 in the state and didn't make the playoffs. Number 1 team in the state and didn't make the playoffs because they slipped up in region play. And they had a dominant season, but it's just wild. In the way, some teams, there's one team that's dominant and the other ones are mediocre. And then you got some regions, all of the teams could go deep in the playoffs, but somebody gets left out because of who they're in the region with. Phoenix City won their series last night over Baker. Like you just said, Hewitt-Trussville won over Sparkman. And Thompson and Bob Jones will play game 3 today. They split. So that's 2 really good baseball programs there that will have a deciding game 3 here today at 1 o'clock. All right, we're going to go ahead and take another break to catch up. And when we come back, we'll run down some more scores. Stay tuned. A lot more to come right after this.
Hello, this is Little Mo right here with you from DLR Us Auto Sales. At DLR Us, we have multiple sedans and SUVs. Come see us at 33445 U.S. Highway 280, Childersburg, Alabama, 35044. Call us at 256-267-3257. Let's make a deal, people. Our down payment is based on $500 down. With the approval of credit, we make it happen. We work with you. We got the choice for you, and we make the right deal.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care opens 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union, is looking for the next hometown hero. Hometown heroes could be first responders, public service workers, community leaders, pastors, community volunteers, or anyone who is making a difference in your hometown. Submit your nominations now online at myhscu.com. And if your nominee is selected, they will get a $100 Visa cash card and a certificate of appreciation from Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Illinois Towers may very well be the Lake Martin area's best kept secret. An affordable senior citizens community located on Highway 22 East in Alexander City. Spacious 1-bedroom units are currently available. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today for more information on the newly renovated Hillaby Towers, 256-329-0552. 256-329-0552. Hillaby Towers, 22 East, Alexander City.
Red Flag Pest Control is Central Alabama's best in pest control with hometown service in Lake Martin and now the greater Montgomery area. When you see pests, throw down the red flag. Termites, bed bugs, carpenter bees, mosquitoes, or general pests. Red Flag gets the job done at the right price for your home or business. At Lake Martin, call 888-943-0353 or in Montgomery, 334-265-1831. Red Flag, the best in pest control in Central Alabama.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear the roads of Alabama calling. And Sarah Honda has your answer. Serving you for over 40 years with one of the largest Honda and pre-owned inventories in the state and the Sarah Promise. Our best deal when you buy or trade, a 72-hour exchange policy, a no-hassle trade-in promise. Written offers are good for 7 days. And our best service promise. Our factory-certified technicians help keep your vehicle running smoothly. That's why Alabama can be yours to discover in a new vehicle from Sarah Honda in Sylacauga.
Here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Final segment here in hour number one. Just finishing up the scores for baseball in round two here in the state of Alabama. Just hitting some specific series up and down. Finishing up in 6A. Like we talked about, Chelsea knocked off Saraland. And again, our good friend Michael Stallings, congratulations to him on his 300th win. It just means he's been coaching a long time, right, Michael? We're not as young as we all used to be. Again, that's another team we had a chance to go catch up with our On the Road show. We really enjoy doing that show. It is a lot of work. We try to make it fun for everybody. I want to encourage everybody to go out there and share that when you see it on our AHSA Radio Network Facebook page. That show goes on statewide TV as well. But we try to make it fun, Randy. We go cover the school, and that's the reason we go. But we try to go highlight the community we're in. What's a cool thing to go do if you're in that area of the state? Where's a great place to go eat that's not a chain restaurant? I mean, I think we provide some really cool content and some good feedback. It's almost like a tourism show, that you see on the Travel Channel or something like that, and it ties our high school programs into the communities they live in. I mean, we've been to Spring Garden, we've been to, we've been all over the place now. We're heading to Gulf Shores, and Orange Beach is coming up week where it's kind of crazy. We haven't been yet with our On the Road show. So we've got so many places that we haven't even covered yet that we're excited to go and give some feedback on.
Well, you'll enjoy this. So I'm a history buff. So go figure, my son's a history buff. And so they just toured Horseshoe Bend.
I was just there.
Yep, and that was the tourism destination when y'all did the Horseshoe Bend show, which will air next week.
Right.
So Kendall's class went to Horseshoe Bend within the last week, and so he's been telling me all these Andrew Jackson stories and how the Indians didn't do a good job of surrounding the backside of that bend, how Andrew Jackson's crew came in the backside.
General Coffee came in from the backside.
I mean,
I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm glad you bring that up, and I want to say something. I'm glad that our schools are still doing that and taking these kids. Man, they wouldn't know anything about that. And, history only goes on if you keep telling the story. And it becomes forgotten. And, look, I gave faith, and I found out Maddie was a history buff. And you're thinking, man, none of these kids nowadays care anything about this. And she's like, no, I really was going into history. And, and to go up there and stand on that lookout and look down in that field and go, that's where this battle took place. And this is the first spot that Andrew Jackson's men came to when they evaluated the barricade. I mean, almost like take you back in time. Like, we're standing in the exact same spot. See, I love that kind of stuff. To some people, they're like, oh, whatever, man. That happened a bazillion years ago. Who cares? But, I mean, it all had a chain reaction of why we are where we are today in this world. And if you don't continue to pass that along, and kids like Kendall and kids even younger than him coming down the line, and we don't educate our kids, it gets forgotten. They don't have an appreciation for what is that military park up there on Highway 49, between New Site and Davil, Alabama. What is that? Well, go read a history book. It's so important that it's in the Smithsonian. And when I went to Washington, D.C., and there's literally beside Andrew Jackson's uniform in the Smithsonian is a thing about the Battle of Horseshoe Bend. So,
well, and that's the reason we're doing the show, and that's the reason we want to add a little flavor to the show, not just a single interview with a coach and a player, but local eating establishments that's important to the community, and then a little tourism, John, out there too. So tune into that next week. I was excited to hear that y'all went there. I remember going there multiple times when you and I were in school, and enjoyed, buying, whether it be some kind of
trinket or something,
wooden built trinket that I'd bring back home and play with. But I remember it real well. And but keep going down those stories.
I know this is gonna tell how much and why this is sitting here. But there's a cannon from Horseshoe Bend. I didn't buy it this week. Okay, this thing is old as crap, and all I can tell you. But that was purchased on one of our field trips back in the day. That I probably begged my mom to buy, but I've still got the dang thing. Just like my wife would come up here and say, "Yeah, you still got every single thing that you've ever had." So yeah, there's right on cue. I get to pull out one of those trinkets that we bought when we were there. But Glenn brings up a good point. Yeah, you tell history for the good and the bad. So the good stuff that you want to, continue on talking about and praise, and the mistakes and the bad stuff that you don't want to repeat as a society and as a culture. So you can't run from history. Tell the stories. Some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. Yeah, that was a massacre that happened on that battlefield, and there were a lot of things that went on back then that shaped, again, the way we are today. So, but you don't just crumble all that up and throw it away. You tell the story.
Great point. A couple of other local schools. Let me hit down those scores before you go to break, Brett. Yep. We mentioned Tallahassee winning and moving on to the third round. Reeltown, right next door to Tallahassee, winning, moving on to the third round. Great pitching there for Reeltown, Brett. They've not only got one of the top sophomore prospects in the country in baseball in Jamarcus Smith, but they've got some other really good players that we've given some athletes of the week to here by Prime Fitness. I want to thank them for being our Lake Martin area athlete of the week sponsor on the HSA. We mentioned Glenwood and Lee Scott, a couple of other teams of note here in the local region that are really playing well. We've had a great run, Brett. If you think about it, I just mentioned in basketball, we may look around our local area and wonder how many teams are making it as far as they are now, and not near as many as we would like. In baseball, it's a really strong run right now.
It's massive. Again, you look down this list that we've run down, and East Central Alabama is got a lot of teams in it and still alive and competing, and have had good seasons. So we love that. Again, we don't have a dog in the fight on anything when it comes to HSA. We just want to see good, we want to see good competition. So especially in the basketball and the football side, which we, contract to call those games and those championship games and all that. But yeah, so the second round will wrap up today for most teams. And it looks like the weather is going to be really, really good today. So they'll get that in. And again, just a few more weeks. And then I know softball is getting cranked up this coming up week. So they'll be getting after it. And again, just went to Horseshoe Bend this past week, and we'll be sharing that. I know they get started on Monday with their postseason. And again, going down to Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, talking about 2 softball programs that have had tremendous seasons. We'll catch up with both of them as well. Real quick before we go to our top of the hour break, and we'll close out the high school side, going to get to catch up with Janie Ford, one of the best track athletes that's ever come through the state over at St. Paul's. We're going to get to sit down and talk to her, and Faith is going to catch up with Tank Jones. Just going to give everybody a little preview. We're setting up an interview with all 10 top prospects here in the state of Alabama, according to 24/7. You know, we're not truly partnered with 24/7, but those guys are our good friends. And, you know, Jason's on our program a lot, Randy, and Christian as well. And you know, I know all the services do a great job, but we've kind of hooked up with 24/7 on some different things. And so we use their listing on their you know, the years and the classifications. In this year's class, we're going down their top 10, and Faith's already interviewed Sedarian Morgan. So Tank Jones is the number 2 player in the state. So while we're there, she's going to be catching up with Tank Jones and doing a feature on him. So we're going to try to get to all 10 top prospects here in the state before the end of the summer. So we're looking forward to that. So keep that in mind and go to our YouTube channel if you haven't done that already, and subscribe and check that out. So, all right, going to close out here the first hour, and continue to get your comments in. If you got questions or anything, we're going to dive into a lot in hour number 2. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Passion, the obsession that burns within. Determination, the burning desire to make it. Drive, the motivation to be the absolute best. Skills, the tools to perform at the highest level. Excellence, the feeling of achievement. At Central Alabama Community College, you can release your passion, show your determination, display your drive, and showcase your skills to achieve excellence. Central Alabama Community College, central to you, central to your success.
Corey's Furniture Express, your expressway to savings. Come on, get on board. Corey's Furniture saves you more. We try harder in every way, so drive a little and save today. Corey's Furniture Express, your expressway to savings.
Ready for an unforgettable escape? Jump into adventure at Lake Martin, Alabama. From thrilling water sports to peaceful fishing spots, it's love at first bite every time you cast your line. Want more excitement? Catch an event with our vibrant festivals, concerts, and fishing tournaments all year long. And when the sun sets, dive downtown to discover local shops, delicious dining, and warm southern hospitality. Explore Lake Martin, where every moment is an adventure waiting to happen.
Here they come! Truckloads of fresh inventory to Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. Choose from a huge selection of full-size GMC Sierras, discounted up to $13,250 off. New GMC Terrains, the popular SUV known for its safety, technology, and performance, is discounted up to $7,500 off. Enjoy! No payments until July. People from all over the USA save at Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. Get ready to smile.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. We can't thank them enough. JR's, we have expanded what we are doing with them. We're there every Wednesday with our Lake Martin Sports Roundup show. I've been doing that show forever. They've been longtime partners with us here on the Saturday Sports Countdown and Sports Blitz Live. But they've now joined in with our Auburn Blitz programming, and they're one of the places that we're on location. And we're going to be rotating between them. Randy, I'll just use this as a little bit of a platform to talk about how we're growing our podcast over on the Auburn Blitz side and the things we're doing there. We will be on the road every week, probably, and 90% of the time it'll be a Friday unless the business asks us to be there at another time for a special event or something. But we were at Lake Martin Grocery on Highway 49, and we're going to be in that whole area. Again, that's going to be one spot we rotate, but not just at the grocery store. We'll be at Stillwater's Golf Course, some other businesses in that area that we're rotating around with. We're going to be at Byron's and Baumhauer's in Auburn in a rotation basis there. We're going to be at Lake Martin Pizza, the one on 49 and the one on 63. Brett and Stacy, they just recently purchased the one in Dayville. So they're renovating that one right now and remodeling it to kind of to be similar to the one in Alex City. So you got a lot of outdoor area seating and stuff. I went by there yesterday while I was in the area and checked that out. That's coming along really well. And, of course, JR. So we're going to be rotating between all these places throughout the summer because this is lake season, man. I'm going out on the lake today. It's beautiful weather. And, again, Memorial Day is really like the unofficial start of lake season around here. But Auburn and the Lake Martin area is where Auburn Blitz will be for the foreseeable future on Fridays all the way through football season.
Well, can't thank all of you enough for finding us. If you don't check out YouTube on the subscriber count, it's gone through the roof, probably close to 5,000 subscribers at this point, Brett. It's a couple hundred a day when I'm looking over there. And so Brett and I say this, we would like to say that we know exactly why that's happening, but we don't. We just know that we're throwing a lot of content out there that's either getting shared or there's people finding it. And you never know when your time comes, Brett, but it feels like it's finally come on some of these because, look, outlets that you and I've worked under over the last 20 plus years have been different than what they are now.
Right.
We have done a lot of TV and radio, and still proud to continue to do TV and radio. And we don't plan to change what's going on there, but shows the way that we're doing this one this morning. And the ways that we're able to do podcasts and on locations were not available to us even 5 years ago, Brett. So really makes things that we've all talked about over the years more accessible to us now. And so if you've got suggestions, please let us know. I say this on the HSA side because I spend a lot of my time during the day posting for that. I need storylines. We get some, but I don't get anywhere near as much as I would like.
And there's a lot of stuff out there that just doesn't get told.
Well,
and we don't know about it. We don't know
our
about
goal is it has been our goal for years now to grow one of the strongest high school sports outlets that there is in the country. And I feel like we've done that. And Brett's efforts out there on the road, my efforts on social media just to post players of the week and to spotlight kids and stories in the state are needed. But Brett and I don't know all the stories. I know enough to be scary, but like Brett said, there's a bunch that aren't even reported on it anymore with the lack of newspaper coverage and other coverage that we once had in this state. Just look, that business model's not around as much as it once was. So we need you to send us information. That's what I'm prodding along there, Brett. I need as much of it as I can get.
When we reach out to these schools and we tell them we're coming, man, sometimes I'm like, I wonder how they're going to receive, are they going to be excited that we're coming? And every single time I reach out to a coach or student athlete, man, they're like, are you serious? You're coming here? You're coming to do your show here? And that, it's humbling to us, and we're just trying to give them exposure, but they're excited to see us coming. And they see the show that we push out, and they see all the work that you do on social media, and people they appreciate it. You know, again, we're thinking, hey, I'm going up here to cover Ace Austin, and I wonder if she's going to have time for us to come do this. And then on the flip side, Ricky and her are like, man, this is awesome. I'm glad y'all are coming. And I mean, it's reciprocal. It just means that a lot of these areas of the state and these stories, man, they're starved to get their word, their message out there. We're just glad to be able to be the vehicle to deliver.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because I was going to forget to tell you this. We talk about 9,000 other things, and I don't even remember to tell you something as important as what I'm about to tell you. I got a personal message from Dwayne Brown yesterday.
I saw that.
Thanking us
for
all of the coverage that we've given him over the years.
I told my wife that when I saw it come across.
Look, he's as good as we've covered here in this state, correct? And I mean,
that guy's awesome, dude.
He can play, and he's 6'9". He's got a different skill set that I'm
taking a step stool from now on when I have to interview somebody like that. By the way, I look like the dang Statue of Liberty holding up a torch, trying to put the mic in his face.
But it's ones like that we'll continue to cheer for. I know he's going to Tennessee, but I'm a fan of his now. I've always been, but I really am.
He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that.
Simple little message just to say that he appreciates all the coverage we've given him over the years. And so that goes a long way out there. So,
Randy, let me just tell you this. It makes you feel like, and you do 99.9% of the posting for us on our social media account, and you've grown that account, and 1,000 kudos to you and what you do and the grind that you put in. But not that you don't do it for an accolade. You do it because you're telling the stories, and you know it's what we do with our network. But man, isn't it great to feel the reciprocation from a student athlete like that? Because a lot of times we go, well, this generation, they don't give a rip about. And then you got one of the most popular, top-rated players in the state, Dwayne Brown, that takes just 2 seconds to stop and say, you know what, I need to send a message to them because they probably helped me get to where I am a little bit. Now, my skills done it, but they've given me a lot of exposure over the years, and I just want to show a little bit of gratitude back to them. Man, it just warms your heart. I'll be honest with you, not to get all sentimental and stuff, but that people do actually give a rip.
Well, and it's the reason I'm prodding you out there for more storylines, because we do care. But a lot of times we don't hear. And some schools are very, very good at getting you information, and other schools, they don't get you anything. You know, you have to pull it out of them. And I wish it wasn't that way, but it's just the truth. And look, and I think that's local newspapers that are passing along some of those storylines too. In some areas, they do a good job of getting it, and a lot of other ones they don't. So I'd rather it just come direct. Some of the best posts that we make are here's something I want everybody to hear. I get a lot of coaches, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, aunts, and uncles that send me information on kids. Do you know how many storylines I've been sent on a kid that wasn't worthy of me posting?
0.
And I've been doing this. 0. Like, people have common sense. They really do. I think we've got to give human beings credit for having common sense. When I get information, it's like, would you mind spotlighting this kid? And I'll read down the accolades. I'm like, how in the world do I not know that?
How have they not already been getting exposure to this point? I mean, crazy.
It is crazy. So we're an open book. We want you to find us, and we want you to communicate with us. And if I got 100 of them a week, it wouldn't make me any more happy.
I'm with you, man. A lot of great things, and again, we'll be hitting the road bright. We won't even be bright when I get on the road Monday morning. It'll be dark when we get on the road Monday morning. But we love what we do, and look, kudos to Nicholas and Maddie. I want to say that real quick to them. We've had 2 unbelievable interns. Nicholas was on the road yesterday, headed to South Carolina for an interview as he's about to graduate from Auburn. And he and I were chatting back and forth, and he has done a tremendous job on our Auburn Blitz Instagram page with our reels and pushing that out. And Maddie she gets so embarrassed when I do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Again, she's an anomaly in the broadcast world. She's quiet and unassuming, got a great personality. if you looked at her right off the hoof and said she's going to go into broadcast, and you no, she's not. Then you put a camera, you put a mic in front of her and get her in front of the camera, and she's Erin Andrews. I mean, it's the most amazing thing. So, yeah, Rick Smith for sending them to us, and then that's how we got Faith. And I know we've told that story. Rick Smith introduced her to me and you, and she did some internship with us in the fall, and it kind of built from there. It's all about networking and relationships, and we're going to be getting more interns through Auburn University when Maddie and Nicholas move on. So, again, if you're interested in this field, we got a lot, and just got contacted this past week about job shadowing and figuring out when we can, meet up with some people for this summer to bring some high school kids in to do some job shadowing. We welcome all that. We got plenty of stuff to do, got plenty of stuff to show people and train people on. So, just wanted to kind of give a plug on that. All right, we're way past break. We come back, we'll keep going. A lot to talk about. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City. Adams Motorsports of Montgomery knows it's the best time to ride. Right now, get the best deals on all of our Suzuki and Kawasaki street bikes, side-by-sides, four-wheelers, and dirt bikes. Adams Motorsports has it all, and our inventory is vast. Get out there, ride the streets and trails, and let Adams Motorsports make your pleasure our business. With family customer service and service after the sale. It's time to ride, so come see us on Eastern Boulevard, Montgomery, or online at adamsmotorsports.com.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SDC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. About 30 minutes left in the show today, so get your comments in. We're shifting gears to Shedeur Sanders and NFL draft. There's a couple storylines I want to get into too outside of Shedeur Sanders with this draft. But just said Mel Kiper is having a conniption fit over the fact that he's dropped all the way out and now out of the first 3 rounds. I don't know why, but this happens to be a unanimous decision by all franchises for this to be going on. And so when you look at the tape and you look at what he's been able to do on the field for 2 different college programs and take teams that were terrible and be able to not be behind the best offensive line and be able to perform. I think I heard a stat yesterday, if this is correct, he completed 82% of his passes when he was not under duress or pressure, like one of the highest, maybe the highest completion percentage rate in college football last year in that stat category. Now, again, he didn't have the best offensive line, had to run for his life, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, he's got a good skill set. And, Travis Hunter is Travis Hunter. I mean, we know how great of a player he is and, how highly he went in the draft, and that wasn't a shock. But definitely thought Shedeur Sanders would be one of the top 3 quarterbacks off the board because of what he brings to the table. And now he's in the 4th round. And as I pulled up the rounds, who at this point it becomes a value thing. It becomes now, because you're losing so much money as you fall down in the draft, that at some point in time, even though a franchise didn't want you in one of those first 3 rounds, they go, your value is a lot greater than the negative now. So I'm going to take you and I'm going to put you behind a guy like a Justin Herbert or Josh Allen or somebody that's already got a well-developed and franchise quarterback, and we'll see what happens. And if you don't work out, then we cut you loose and we ain't lost much. But this is him every pick losing more and more money as he goes down the line.
Well, there were a couple of programs that I thought tell the story maybe more than others. One, Pittsburgh.
100%.
Pittsburgh, since Big Ben moved on, it's not they've been bad. They've been a really, probably Mike Tomlin's as good a consistency coach as we've seen in pro football in the last 20 years. You'd agree with that. They win every year. It's not that they're a championship caliber team every year, but they're in the mix every year. But since Big Ben, they've needed a franchise quarterback to lean on. I'm not saying that Shedeur, anybody believes he is a franchise quarterback, but they passed him up a couple of times, Brett. And then, I thought if anybody, Dallas would have taken a run on him with the relationship, or what you feel is the relationship with Jerry Jones and that program with his father. And am I missing something? Does the NFL have that much angst against Deion Sanders?
No. I saw Jerry Jones' comments about Deion and Shedeur and praising him. I saw Sean Payton, who's had a relationship with Shedeur all the way back when he was in high school. And those particular franchises aren't in a position to take a quarterback, and they may have greater needs than a quarterback that they go, I like the kid, I'd draft him, but we don't need a quarterback. I'm not going to waste a top 3 or 4 pick on a position we don't need. I'm not going to be Atlanta like last year and go get Kirk Cousins for umpteen $1 million and then go sign Michael Penix in the first round. I mean, I'm like, that's the dumbest. Like, what are you doing? Like, that is just complete and total stupidity, because now, again, it's all about roster management in the NFL, and it's getting that way in college. You don't go and spend all your money and put 3 5-star quarterbacks in your quarterback room and don't have any defensive linemen. The highest number of, like, I think the position group defensive line had the highest numbers it's had in years. I think top 3 rounds, there were 11 or 12 big-time defensive linemen. Like, the trenches are important, and there's a lot of teams that need those O-linemen and defensive linemen, and they've already got quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers locked down. And so it has to be a specific niche. But the like you said, the anomaly is the teams that don't have a quarterback, like Pittsburgh and some of those that went twice or 3 times and had a chance to get him and passed him over. And Randy, I'll be honest with you. Who are you picking? You picking Shedeur Sanders or Jalen Milroe, man?
Oh, man, that's no question.
Are you picking Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders? Are you picking Tyler Show from Louisville, who I sent that meme over? I don't know what that pass was, by the way. Like, he literally threw that in the combine. That's not a joke. That wasn't somebody that did that on a computer. I don't even know what that was. He got drafted over Shedeur Sanders. Jackson Dart, I mean, would be 50-50.
The reason I can get Jackson Dart's his mobility.
50-50, I said.
Yeah, I get 50, that. 50. I mean, he's a more mobile athlete than Shedeur. But I think Shedeur, like
Cam Ward was the no-brainer. Cam Ward was the no-brainer.
Because he brings both of those to the mix too.
Right.
But to me, I mean, if you're looking for a pocket passing quarterback like Big Ben was over the years, to me, Shedeur's the big pocket passing arm that is more accurate than any of them.
Right.
I've always thought his accuracy and the way that he delivered the football was pro level, maybe even more than college level. And I guess I'm wrong.
Well, people need to understand this, and I know we got to get to our next break for TV. NFL is a massive business. If the skill set and the ability to give your team a chance to win is going to they'll take some bad apples. Let me just say that. Eventually, somebody's going to say, "Oh, let me tell you something, man. He may have had a screwed up interview, but that kid could play, and we're gonna take him, and we're gonna try to make him our franchise court, whatever." For all of these franchises to keep pushing him down, is historic. And I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either, because there are the Randy Mosses that dropped in the draft. There are the Lawrence Phillips that dropped in the draft. I can keep going back. We've all had them.
Well, we understand that.
And those are like a lot more clear issues, off the field issues, than what we're seeing here. I mean, I got to go back to, do you know how bad an interview you must have had to upset this many programs if your skill set is not being questioned?
We'll see if I can find that tweet that I sent to all you guys.
I saw the same one.
Yeah, I just want to read it for everybody. I know let's get to break. I'll try to dig that up. We'll come back. We'll keep talking about this and some storylines with Auburn and Alabama when it comes to the draft. And
please do pull up all of those we've sent back and forth.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
There's a question. If you're an Auburn fan, you wonder why Auburn's not had any success.
You don't have to go
tell the story.
Yeah, you don't have to go far. So, all right, up against the break. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Alex City and west side of the lake. It's time to celebrate because the all-new Lake Martin Pizza is open with the area's best pizza, and it's just down Highway 63 South in our town. Lake Martin Pizza of Highway 63 has a huge outdoor seating area with enclosed heated comfort, a full bar with cold beer, wine, and full spirit selection with family ownership and fun for the whole family. Dine in or pick up. It's just a short drive to our town and is hands down the area's best pizza. Like us on Facebook to see upcoming live entertainment and watch sports on our 360 wraparound TVs. Rejoice! Lake Martin Pizza on Highway 63 is ready for you.
This is Joseph Dean with Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory. I am pleased to announce that Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is now open to serve the public at our location on the corner of 49 North and 280 West in Dadeville. Please stop by and see lifelong resident of Dadeville, Molly Kaler, who will be running the office and meeting with families who want to plan ahead and pre-need their services. We are also available by phone 256-750-0381 or online at lakemartinfuneralhome.com.
This spring and summer, make your land, farming, lawn, and landscaping needs have zero risk and 100% success with Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor. With 0% financing on all our Mahindra tractors, many with up to 84-month terms. Our inventory of Mahindra tractors and farm implements is beefed up, and more are coming in daily. We also have extended 0% terms on Spartan mowers to handle your mowing needs with the best and zero-turn mowers priced to move. At Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor, your authorized Mahindra and Spartan dealer.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing. At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at dunningroofingal.com for more information.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Couple segments left in the show today. All right, so on NFL Red Zone, and this was in an article, just a section out of an article. I'll just read it. It said, one longtime NFL assistant. This is just one. We read multiple and different things on X all week and talking about Shedeur Sanders. Said one longtime NFL assistant coach said his time with Sanders was the worst formal interview I've ever been in my life. He is so entitled. He takes unnecessary sacks. He never plays on time, has a horrible body language. He blames teammates. But the biggest thing is he's not that good, said one AFC executive. Said, didn't go great in our interview. He wants to dictate what he's going to do and what's best for him. He makes you feel small. Said even some of Sanders' fans expressed disappointment. He didn't take a bigger step forward as a senior. Then said there was an NFC GM that said, I liked him the year before. And then kind of went into some more of the same things that one NFL coach said. But I guess this is the consensus, man. I mean, this is not some jacked up meme website. This is off NFL.com. This is an article that came from the NFL Red Zone section. And, I mean, you can say whatever you want to say. And it says, that they felt like Jackson Dart and Shedeur were really close on some things. But one guy said that he felt like he may have even been a little less athletic than Jackson, which you just said.
I don't think he's as good a running athlete, which is odd when you think Deion Sanders, he and Bo Jackson are the two best athletes that I've ever seen in my life, but doesn't mean that any of our kids are what we were. But what I thought that Shedeur brought to the game was, who cares if you can dart around as long as you move enough and deliver the football as well as I felt like he has over his career. But look, what the point you're making that I think is valid is these executives, if there's just one or two passing you up,
right?
Of course, in today's world, everything becomes black and white. Look, you can say that it doesn't, but you can turn on Twitter right now and there's a whole bunch of talking heads saying this is a racial issue. I mean, this is the craziest.
How is it a racial issue?
It's the most ridiculous take in the world.
Jalen Milroe and Cam Ward goes number one. I mean, that's just
Travis Hunter right there behind him. That's been tutelage by the exact same coach. And all of that is just
it doesn't hold water. It's really just a dumb argument, man.
So, but the point you're making is not. And if that were the case, there's blacks not choosing him too. I mean, there are black head coaches.
Mike Tomlin's the head coach of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So that take makes no sense. But look, I was a big fan of his. You know that. It's the reason you're bringing this up. I've been talking good about him for a long time, and I'm a huge fan of Deion's. Some people don't like how eccentric he is and how flamboyant he is, but I happen to be one that likes a coach that markets his program and puts that brand out there, and even made a major argument that he would be a perfect fit for Auburn. And a lot of Auburn fans don't like that, but I don't care. I mean, I liked it, and I liked it for a long time, and I still wouldn't have mind seeing it happen. The further we get down the line, you're about to go into something else.
Right.
Hey, I tell you what, we wouldn't be going down some of the stats that you're about to bring up. I don't believe if he would have got the job 2 shifts ago, but that's neither here nor there. But with Shedeur, there's really a reason when you drop out of the first 3 rounds, those execs are seeing something we don't know.
Yeah, there's a reason behind it, and it'll come out eventually. There'll be some more people that make comments about it when the draft's over, and he will get drafted somewhere. He'll get drafted today, probably, would be my guess. Don't know where that'll be. Don't know who it'll end up being at the end of the day. But, now he can use this as motivation to go out and say somebody got a steal in the draft. And, the ball's in his court now that he can work his way up and prove all these franchises wrong. And, somebody that's a competitor like him will probably use that as fuel to his fire. So, and I think Sean Payton said that. I think Jerry Jones said that he'll end up being successful wherever he goes. All right, so we got to take another break. We come back. We'll talk about some more stats. TJ Finley he transferred again. What's wrong with this guy, dude? Like, what is wrong?
No, don't bring him up. What's wrong with the system?
Well,
you're asking the wrong question.
But I mean, he literally just transferred to Tulane.
Yeah, I know. But
in the first portal window, and now he's out again.
But he's the perfect example of what's broken in this system.
Well,
he would be going to his 6th different school.
This is just dumb. And then, did I send that over to y'all, or did y'all send it to me? Yeah, I can't remember. We send so much junk. The transfer portal closing, it closed last night, or it closed at midnight today. 2018 and 19, when it started, 1,700 kids got in the portal. You know how many got in the portal in this cycle, 24-25? 4,842. If you think that's normal, you think that's okay, then you're probably part of the problem. I hate to be that way, but that's it. No, who likes that? Who wants to support this kind of system in college athletics? So John Gruden, I sent that over to y'all. I showed y'all what he said about this NIL stuff. He said basically, he used a lot of expletives, but then the kids are basically running the teams. And then, of course, with Kentucky deciding to do what they're doing with their athletic program and creating our own LLC. And, I mean, we're just in a whole different day and age. Something's got to be done if we want to save some type of semblance of the college sport. Something's got to be done. I don't know what it is. Something's got to be done. All right, up against the break. Stay tuned. More to come right after this.
Thunderbolt Lightfoot at Oscar's Cafe on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, Alabama is looking to see you today. Now, let me tell you, they got great food. They've always had great food all these years. Now, they still got that atmosphere. They still got that service. They still cater. Let me stop right there. 15 to 415 they can handle. So give them a call today at Oscar's, Highway 49 South in Dadeville. 256-825-4827.
Corey's Furniture Express, your expressway to savings. Come on, get on board. Corey's Furniture saves you more. We try harder in every way, so drive a little and save today. Corey's Furniture Express, your expressway to savings.
Illinois Towers may very well be the Lake Martin area's best kept secret. An affordable senior citizens community located on Highway 22 East in Alexander City. Spacious one-bedroom units are currently available. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today for more information on the newly renovated Hillaby Towers, 256-329-0552. 256-329-0552. Hillaby Towers, 22 East, Alexander City.
At CNT Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SDC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
2025 RVs are here. Be the first to see the latest and greatest from your favorite manufacturers and lock in special show pricing at your local Camping World. '25 RVs are here. Be the first to see the latest and greatest from your favorite manufacturers and lock in special show pricing at your local Camping World.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR's Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air. Just a little tidbit there before we or after we went to break, talking about Auburn golf with Coach Kleinert and SEC, the defending SEC champs and national champs. They won stroke play, got the number 1 seed. Jackson Coyven won the individual stroke play for the second year in a row. It's the only time that's been done since the 70s. And so they continue to do well. They'll head into match play with a chance to repeat as SEC champs. But just talking about the golf facility they have out there at the AU Club, and it was our first opportunity to go out and see that. And if you haven't seen Face on the front row with Brendan Valdez last week, you need to go see that. You know, those interviews are good from the fact, Randy, that they dive into just not about what they do every day as an athlete in the sport. They talk more about how they got there. I mean, like when you watch the interview, you found out that Brendan Valdez started out as a gymnast. He didn't play golf. And then he shifted into that because he had family that were gymnasts and he was built like that. And, you know, you find out a lot about these student athletes and where they came from and why they chose Auburn and all, and had a real good one this week with tennis, women's tennis. That'll be coming out next week. So go and find that on our YouTube page. But this Auburn men's golf team is, and it starts at the top. Coach Kleinert, man, just a superb guy.
Well, he's a class act, and he's thought of by not only talking heads like you and I, but you and I get to meet a lot of people around the state, and just the way he handles people. You know, he's not a greater than thou type of leader. You know, he's accessible. You just told a story during the break about pulling up to the golf facility and he out there spraying Roundup and flower beds. But I want you to talk about this, Brett, because Alabama's building one too. These golf facilities at these colleges,
crazy.
It makes sense why they're able to go out there and get some of the top golfers in the country, because the resources are being thrown at a sport that, let's be honest, is massive where we live. It's just massive. This is huge tourism dollars, you know. Whether you be in Auburn and Opelika area or the Lake Martin area where we live, Brett, I mean, there are some of the top golf courses in the entire country in our backyard, and people that are rabid about sport around here. So it's not a surprise the further you get down the line. But I tell you, as an Auburn fan, it sure is nice to have a program up to the standard that Coach Kleiner's got this one right now.
No doubt about it. I mean, he has again recruited some of the best in the country, and he's also gone out and found some guys that maybe weren't the highest rated guys and gotten in here, and they've worked. And it goes all the way back to the first hour talking about facilities. When these kids come around and they go out, and the Jackson Coivens of the world that are from North Carolina, and they're trying to make a decision where they want to come play golf, they can go anywhere. They chose Auburn. Maybe a lot of it had to do with Coach Kleiner. I'd want to play for that guy. And that's what Brendan talked about with Faith in the interview, is that, why wouldn't you want to play for him? Well, just the way he handles, you one-on-one and helps coach you, and his demeanor, and just the times that you and I've been around him, and just a very likable person. And you add the facilities and everything else that goes in with Auburn, that's why some of these kids are deciding to come here. But so it's not just the coach, and it's not just facilities. You got to have the right combination of all that to be able to bring in the best. So match play will start today, and that's going to be exciting. It'll be on the SEC Network, and you can tune that in. And Justin said, yes, they broke the team overall score too. They've had a tremendous start to the SEC championships, and Sea Island is a place that they're very familiar with, and they play really well there, and they score really well. So we'll watch that closely and see how that kind of all plays out.
Hey, I'll spin it over to Alabama just real quick. I watched this past Sunday, JT getting off the snide.
Oh, yeah, got that win.
What a putt he made to come back and to stick that one close.
The hometown guy blew it, man.
He sure did. He blew it on the 18th hole, and then they had to come back and play the same hole. And I think it'd been several years since he had won a tournament.
He'd been in a drought.
He played good in the Masters. He wasn't at, a winning pace, but he was right there in the mix. So, look, we all are proud of our players that we can follow. And I think Auburn, with this swing that we're having in college golf, we're about to have quite a few players on that circuit that we're going to be able to keep up with for a generation to come.
Yeah, I mean, Carson Baca, Brennan Valdez, Jackson Coiven, man, these jokers are just unbelievable. I mean, when you're in ninth place and shot 7 under, yeah, I don't need to be around that. But like you said, we're all big Auburn fans. Braden's into golf. That's what he wants to do as a career, is be a superintendent and all that. And, he was pulling hard for JT. And he said, man, I really like JT. He said, I know he's from Alabama, but he's like, man, I really like him as a golfer. And, in that arena, everybody kind of pulls for everybody, man. You kind of have fun and chide each other about college and stuff, but, everybody kind of pulls for one another and likes to see everybody be successful. So, all right, so we're going to take our final break on the show. When we come back, we'll run down a few of these stats regarding Alabama and Auburn when it comes to NFL draft, and we'll wrap it up here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. Stay tuned. One final segment right after this.
If you're tired of the same old, and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
At Russell Medical, we're proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are.
I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need with top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill, and our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care opens 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Everyone to the Saturday Sports Countdown presented by JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Eating and Air. Here's a stat for you. Most NFL draft picks since 2000. Ohio State, 167. Alabama, 164. And Georgia, 157. LSU, 154. And then it drops to the 130s with Florida and Miami and USC, and then so forth and so on. Auburn is down at 90. But Auburn is in the top 20 most NFL draft picks since 2000. But that's the difference in the top end and the bottom end of that list. And so again, you want to look at it and see why there has been a run of 4 straight years of losing seasons for Auburn. And I know this goes back 25 years. I'm not saying
you're spending, and that's the best case scenario. If you take it back to 2000, I would guess Auburn between 2000 and 2007 had a pretty good run of NFL draft picks.
They had a lot in the early years.
Yeah, so I think
I would just say 2000, 2010 period.
I think if you go from 2000 and
the last 15 years have been terrible.
Terrible. I bet the number.
Well, in the last 18 years, you and I and Jason talked about it Monday. In the last 18 years, Auburn's only had 8 offensive linemen drafted. 8. I mean, and it ain't like all of them have been first rounders. Now, you got some guys mixed in that got drafted the 4th, 5th round, whatever. So.
Well, and it's back to what we were talking about with Shador a little bit earlier. I mean, those are stats that the people that are making those decisions, it's their livelihood, and it's what they do for a living. And they're
making a business decision.
So when the business decision is the players that you're sending my way aren't good enough, like Auburn in the NBA before Bruce Pearl,
right?
Like you can come up with a million different reasons why and try to spin it in a positive direction. There's no way to spin that in a positive direction.
Now, I will say this about this year's draft. I don't think anybody was expecting an Auburn player to go in the top 3 rounds. I will say some of the receivers that were drafted over KLS, and to have him 200th still left on the best players available list, all the way down at 200. I mean, so am I missing something there, dude? I think that guy is a
you probably are. You're probably missing.
I have to be missing something.
Because there's either a 40-yard dash running time or an athleticism question, or there's something. I mean,
Jacquez Hunter, will we see him go here in the 4th or 5th round? Could.
I think he's good enough to go in that range.
Eugene Asante, probably will see him come off somewhere around the 6th.
Very, very questionable size-wise.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's the intangible thing that the NFL, again, it's all based off numbers, and everything's a business decision, even the interviews. So your intangibles may be great. Your stats may be great. You go in here and act like a punk. They go, well, I ain't dealing with that. That ain't coming in our clubhouse.
And I really don't feel like that's been the case for Auburn. I think a lot of these guys have been really good guys that if they end up with an opportunity would do great. But
if you think stars don't matter, and I know we got a couple minutes before we got to go, and this is according to 24/7's rankings, out of the first round drafts, 81.3% of the first round draft picks were either a 5-star or 4-star. 11 5-stars, 15 4-stars. The rest of it was either there were 4 3-stars and 2 were not rated. And one of those guys that were not rated was Cam Ward. Can you believe that?
Tells you can come from nowhere and make it work.
It's an anomaly.
But the odds are that you won't. And because let's just talk about the kid that or a couple of them that we've tracked over the last several years at Benjamin Russell that you and I call. I could have told you in the 7th grade, Darian Morgan, if pushed in the right direction, would be an NFL player. And 100%. Doesn't mean, but there are just some that you see that you're like, this is not a normal athlete. This is a special athlete. Malcolm Simmons, this is a special athlete.
Hey, let me close it for TV, and then we'll stay on for 2 or 3 minutes and finish. That's going to wrap it up for us here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. Again, want to thank everybody for joining us here each and every Saturday. Want to thank JR Sports Bar and Grill and Sunshine Heating and Air for their longtime partnership. We'll be back with you again next Saturday for another edition of the Countdown. We'll stay on a little bit longer online, but we'll see everybody next Saturday. For Randy, I'm Brett saying we've enjoyed it. Hope you have. See you next time.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear the roads of Alabama calling, and Sarah Honda has your answer. Serving you for over 40 years with one of the largest Honda and pre-owned inventories in the state, and the Sarah Promise. Our best deal when you buy or trade, a 72-hour exchange policy, a no-hassle trade-in promise. Written offers are good for 7 days. And our best service promise. Our factory-certified technicians help keep your vehicle running smoothly. That's why Alabama can be yours to discover in a new vehicle from Sarah Honda in Sylacauga.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
Ivy Creek Healthcare is excited to showcase their newest clinic, Ivy Creek Family Care of Lake Martin, located conveniently near the main entrance to Stillwater's on Highway 49 South in Dadeville. Ivy Creek Family Care of Lake Martin is an urgent care with walk-ins welcome. Whether you need lab work, x-rays, or immediate care, find comfort here at Ivy Creek Family Care of Lake Martin. Ivy Creek, here when you need us most. 256-827-5379.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
Landowners, farmers, and landscapers, it's time to fall back this fall at Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor on Highway 280 in Alex City. Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor has the year's best terms on almost all our Mahindra tractors. Now, get up to 84 months of 0% financing on Mahindra 1600 to 4500 series tractors. And package up with all your implement needs. Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor also has 0% financing or up to $1,000 rebates on most 24 Spartan zero-turn mowers. The rates can't fall anymore at Lake Martin Tractor and Outdoor.
Summertime is a special time. Time on the water, time away from work, and more time with family and friends. Make sure your heart is ready for the season with an appointment at the UAB Heart and Vascular Clinic at Russell Medical. I'm Dr. Kevin Sublett, and our entire clinic is dedicated to keeping your heart healthy. We're right here in your own community and backed by the knowledge and expertise of UAB Medicine. Make an appointment today by calling 256-234-2644 or visit uabmedicine.org/heartrussell.